We're looking at it both in both dimensions. The full core is to understand our whole portfolio and all our projects that we have, and then really zooming in on the future and what the future of the car compute is going to be. So our security strategies need to scope along all of the different customer and project needs.
So from the point of view of services industry, we support everybody depending on what they need. There are companies that are very mature and they know how to invest in a full core defense, or they know a specific space where they need it. On the other end of the scale, there are companies that have 1 year or 2 years in cybersecurity. They are completely new, they are completely fresh, and they need support everywhere. And sometimes they need a full core defense because they want to invest in it. Sometimes they just want to figure out, okay, we need to get compliant, and then what?
I think this year we're going to go for the full court defense. I think getting the whole strategy down is really going to be key for us. When we start looking in those individual zones, I think we've started like some really good progress there, and we just need to cover the full court now.
Really depends on whether you're playing on what side you're playing on. So you got to look at all the different risks and vulnerabilities of certain systems based off of if that's what your scope is, or based off of if you need to worry about the regulations, and that's all the long-term stuff. So like EU7, CRA, R155, all those. So it's like it really depends on your.
That's an easy one to answer. We're talking about vehicles. Vehicles run on the roads for 15, 20 years. You're producing them now, and they're already too late. Yeah, you don't have probably in the vehicles that you're selling right now or that are on the road for the last 10 years, 5 years that got connected early. You already are delayed. 2030, maybe now a bit delayed. I heard quantum computer comes in. What does everybody do that has cars on the road that are connected? End of cybersecurity support early? Hard to say. What do you do when you have an end of cybersecurity support? Do you turn off all the connected features that people paid for? I don't think so. So the future is a long game. You need to prepare every time when you work on that to look forward into the future to make sure that whatever you put on the road in the next 20 years, it will still be a viable product.
I think right now what I'm seeing and trending is the short-term scramble right now. I think a lot of things right now that's going on, this whole landscape is shifting and changing as AI is going on. So right now I think they're playing defense a little bit and seeing what's coming down the pipe. So right now I would say cyber is in its short-term scramble. And I think most companies would behoove themselves to take that and look long-term.
This is definitely the long game. It's not something that's going to solve problems next week. But as we move the industry towards using standardized solutions, we will see benefit in that. There will be cost savings in that, where you can leverage existing solutions off the shelf, pick from them before a project even begins. And there are benefits to using certified solutions from Global Platform when it comes to incident response. It really creates that library of controls that we've all been taught to look for that we can use at a moment's notice. So one day, it might be that buzzer beater you're looking for.
Okay, so definitely, I would like to speak from a standard or regulation standpoint. So I'm a big fan of the R155. And of course the 21434, they are still out there as the state of the art when it comes to compliance and following minimum requirements when it comes to fulfilling cybersecurity and automotive. And they are becoming the base for the world. Let's say China is also, they have their own regulations, but I'm a big fan of the R155.
We have a really nice Tara tool right now. So we're leveraging Taras a lot to show, and I know we talked about this at the conference as well, sorry for you guys that aren't here, but we can really like talk to our leadership more about the risks that are coming up, and so that's really kind of what we're aiming towards. So MVP, Tara, showing the risks, where they are, and how we can fix them.
I think for the security stack, it's really the MVP is defense in depth. It's really having our controls in place and knowing long term that it will be able to be agile enough to withstand future attacks and PQC, if you will, moving forward. So it's really our defense in depth and our control strategies that's really the MVP.
Process. Yeah, that's the one thing. I think we focus a lot on technical capabilities and on technical efficiency, but I think process is the one thing that's warming the benches right now, but it needs to get out on the court.
I think one of the biggest challenge for the cybersecurity sitting on my desk and my colleagues' desk is like the code coverage. How much you can cover the code from V&V activities. I think the maximum that had been reached so far is like 85%. So that 15 or remaining 20-15 kind of percent is still, or might kind of, impose some risk. And that's something like, all big companies, tech companies working on, like Google, all the big companies are working on towards like, 90s or closing, that gap and kind of having higher code coverage.
I think your starting lineup really has to start with your people. So I think maybe sitting on the bench is some of the really good cyber experts that are still out and around and looking for places to be. Most security teams that I've seen and worked with really need to be larger than what people think that they should be. So I think the people are really what's being sidelined right now.
Vulnerability management, I would say, is a huge thing, and patching and having a great strategy to patch all the different devices for OEMs, and really just knowing what's out there from a legacy perspective and moving forward. So I really think that's the long pole in the tent that OEMs need to really wrap their head around.
Most underestimated risk in connected mobility? That's easy, not monitoring for it, right? If you're not monitoring for your attacks, you're on the hook, you're on the line. You got to get with it, right? The attackers are going to try to be more sophisticated. You want to protect your assets. Your connected vehicle is a honeypot for these attackers. You want to make sure you have the coverage there.
Ooh, an underestimated risk. Maybe it's not underestimated, but breaking encryption with quantum computing is something that I think about a lot day to day. And so maybe it's not underestimated, but it's definitely going to be a risk that's coming soon, and it's going to impact all of our PKIs.
It's social media as an attack vector. It's what we're doing right now. It's a TikTok challenge. It's a YouTube viral video. It's a new clip. It's a new thing. That, I think, is the most underestimated risk that none of our threat models take into account for.
It's the way how we use tools. It's the way how we use processes. It's the way how we understand our world and how we act with it. It leaves things open on both sides, right? On the sides of the attackers, using us as an entry point. It also leaves points open on how we utilize the tools. Are we really executing to the standards of excellence we are supposed to?